Hello all, welcome to another endgame studies of the Solving Harder Studies to Improve Chess Calculation series. This composition comes from the Russian chess composer Vladimir Neishtadt. It's white to play and to win. As always, I suggest you watch the guides so you are better prepared for the practice. And then I catch you up after the countdown, the main one of 10 minutes, to begin the guided solution. And let's go for the solution. Okay, this position is more complex than usual, lots of material over the board. But of course, we see that, okay, black has a queen, we have a pawn that is trying to promote, we also can bring our rook. Okay, so these ones are the ones that we should go and start by the forcing moves. And the correct one, the only that works for the win, is to go with g5 exclamation mark. So here the idea is simple. If the king takes the pawn, then we get this fork. So we will grab the queen, and with that, it's going to be an easy win. So forcing the king to move in a forcing way. The other good alternative over here, there are not many, it's to go with the rook e8. So here it's a blunder. Why? Because maybe you are wondering, okay, we were expecting the queen to accept our pawn, which would allow white to go ahead and check the king, and after the king moves, well, we can sacrifice the rook, forcing the king to accept it. If it doesn't accept, we just check it, and we get the same fork. So it's the same idea. We are trying to get a fork with the knight. If the king accepts the rook, the fork is direct. So this was basically the idea behind going with the rook directly to e8. Yeah, well, but of course, black has a very important defensive research that we should be aware in solving this one, which is to go check, then the queen comes down. Of course, we need to move the king. So, and after a while, it's going to be a repeated, of course, position. So it's going to be a draw. We can't force it. Neither white can do it, neither black can do it. So it's going to be a draw. So without this on the way, we found that we need to go with the forced line of g5, checking the king. So the king needs again to go to the only square available, which is g7. Now we check it again. Of course, the king here has two good options. Notice that going to the corner doesn't work because we are always threatening the fork. So it's either go to h7 or to g8. And at first we may think, okay, g8 doesn't work because, of course, this is a bit dumb because it allows the rook to come to e8 and fork the queen while checking the king. So we may start and think, okay, it's going to go to h7. But from here, the continuation, I don't think it's hard. We just go with the rook, check the king. So the only way is to go again to g8. And now we sacrifice the rook, of course, and we get the fork anyway. So this was the line more or less that I started to think, and I was not seeing how this was a hard one. Well, but the hardest part comes on the other variation, which seems a bit strange. Yes, we go with the rook to e8. So now it's black to play, and black plays the king to h7. So this is the first moment for us to pause, another minute, and then I catch you up to go on with the solution. And let's see the continuation. And here we get the idea more clear because we see immediately, okay, we can't accept the queen because otherwise it's going to block the enemy king. And as all pawns from black are already blocked, it's a stalemate draw. We are not checking the king can't move, neither any of the pawns, so it's a stalemate draw. So suddenly we see, okay, this variation has a bit more than what was expected at first. And the other move possible over here, knight taking in f7, well, this sounds like something, but black can draw really easy. It can just sacrifice the queen. Notice that the check is working because if our king goes away, we get the same idea that we saw before for a draw. So if we accept the queen, well, as you can see, it's again a stalemate draw. So we need to go with this brilliant idea again of sacrificing the rook. So now we check the king. No, notice that now the king isn't forced to accept the rook, so we go with the queen. Of course, if the king accepts, then we get the fork and the win, easy win. So the queen accepts. And now the idea is easy. We need to block the access to the pawn, so we are intending to promote next black to play. Of course, black here has two ideas. It's to move the king to g8, which is going to be the main one, but there is another interesting one. What if black plays queen f8? So here it's white to play again. What is correct move for white to win in this variation? And over here, we need to play the very good King B1 because now black is forced to move again and there are no good moves for black. So let's say, for example, black moves the queen to g8. Now we can promote to the queen because the sacrifice won't work because we are not going to accept. Otherwise, it would be another stalemate draw. And so we play this very smart move queen e7 and go for a win from here. What happens is, why were we not have the chance to go with the queen directly to promotion? Because now it's different. Because if you go now to the queen to e7, then black has this check, and so the continuation is going to be a draw from here. So we first need to move away with our king. So this is the smart idea before going for the promotion. So this was a bit an interesting side variation. Let's go now for the main line, which is the king moves to g8. So it's white to play again, and of course over here we are going to promote to a queen. Here black goes with queen h4, so now we are facing a threat, a checkmate from black. So it's white to play, find the correct continuation to white, keep going for the win. And over here, we need to be very precise because if you play something like trying to discover check with knight g7, which is a big, big blunder, I don't think you have thought about this one. Well, the king just goes to h7. Now, black is threatening the checkmate, so we need to protect it. So, bringing the queen to to e8 to protect it, but then the queen just comes to f2, and now it's impossible to go and save this one. It's black that it's going to win over here. So this was not the correct move. And another move from black could be, for example, go with the knight c7, another discover check. But again, over here, there won't be any process. We need to protect the checkmating again. The queen now it's a bit different because if the queen comes to f7, we have a check and a checkmate next. So the queen can't accept the pawn, of course, so needs to take our g5 pawn. But from here, we also can progress because after the check, it's impossible to go and to checkmate the king. The king just going to repeat moves and we get a draw from black perspective. So the only correct way from here is to go with the knight d6, exclamation mark. This is the correct move. Black to play again. As we saw before, it's a check, so the king needs to go to h7. Now we need to protect the checkmate threat. And of course, as we saw, the queen can't go to f7. We can see this one very fast because it's going to be checkmate, very, very easy for white. So the queen takes the pawn on g5. So now black is threatening two ways for a checkmate, but it's of course white to play and white to play and to win from here. And let's see the beautiful finish on this one. I don't know if you have found it, but it's a fine and brilliant way to finish this. It's to sacrifice the queen, queen h8, double exclamation mark. The king is forced to accept, and after that we get a fork. So the king and the queen are forked. The king moves, and of course we get the queen and the win. We have a knight. We are going to push our pawns. One of that is going to be a queen and easy win for white. Hope you have enjoyed. This was a bit cool study from the beginning because there were many material. And as always, I catch you up with future videos. Bye bye and keep checking.